What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Talk Reviews, episode 219. On today's episode, we're talking about everything college softball World Series. The bracket is set. The games start on the 28th, which is Thursday. So we got a lot to talk about. But first, let's introduce today's guest. We got Aunt Tammy. We got the podcast dad back on this episode. What's going on, guys?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Miles. Hello, podcast dad.
Well, hello.
So we had a lot of games the past 2 weeks. We had regionals and super regionals this past week, week and a half or so, if you really want to say so. Honestly, in my opinion, I didn't think the regionals was anything too crazy. I mean, there was a couple of crazy results, but in the end, I think most of the good teams ended up making it out. But I thought super regionals was a lot better. A lot of big upsets, a lot of awesome results, and a couple game threes, which really came down to the wire for some of those teams. But Aunt Tammy, how often were you watching these?
Yeah, I think I had mentioned to podcast dad at one point. It's like, oh right, work got in the way, but I mean, I watched I watched a lot of it, and then I went back and checked some highlights and looked at some of the scores. In the regionals, I was like, wow, okay, some of them came out with a statement, and maybe we expected them to come out like that. And then others, I was like, there was a couple times, and I offhand, I was like, oh wow, that was a little bit of a surprise. Super regionals, as you said, I mean, I'm excited to talk about who's moving on, because there's some first timers, which I think is really cool. We don't, it's nice to just see people that aren't expected to win, our teams, um, pull it out. That's what makes it so exciting. So I did watch a lot of it. I think on Saturday I watched it most of the day. So that was awesome to catch up and get back in that seat. So yeah, I always enjoy this time of year.
Nice. Dad, what did you think about it? Obviously, I know you and I watched just as much, if not, you maybe a little bit more than I did. But what did you think about the regionals and super regionals?
No, I enjoyed both weekends worth of softball. I did like I mean, it's a small thing. I liked watching the regionals most because of the 7 inning um, channel that ESPN had on,
Yeah,
so you can kind of watch 3 games at once and not have to flip around. So I like that portion of it. I was missing it on Super Regional Day, on Super Regional weekend. But I thought it was, there was a lot of good games. I got to see a lot of these teams kind of more for the first time because I don't watch a whole lot of softball during the year, and even when I do watch it, it's not a whole lot of the SEC and some of the the ACC schools. So I got to see some of those that I hadn't watched during the year. So it was good to see them. Um, was there some surprises? Yeah, I mean, there's always a little bit of surprises here and there, and those were fun to watch. It's always good to watch some upsets and things like that. So it was a little bit of everything for between the 2 weekends.
nice. Yeah, I tried to watch as much as I could. I watched just about everything from Friday and Saturday slate of games, but there was work and I work at night, so it kind of made it a little difficult on super regionals. But I tried my best. Definitely kept up with it as much as I could. And again, I thought super regionals was a lot better when it came to storylines and results than the regionals. Obviously, I did like the regionals a lot. A lot of fun results, especially for the teams I root for. But Super Regionals was a lot of fun when it came to the end results, which we'll talk about right now. We'll start off with the big upset, Mississippi State getting out of the Norman Super Regional. First time Oklahoma does not make the College World Series since 2015. The first time we will see no Florida or Oklahoma in the College World Series since 2007. And Tammy, let's talk to you first about this one. Mississippi State making it pass. You're the only one that actually had them out of the region of Eugene. So were you surprised about this one? Did you expect this?
Well, like I said, I picked them for a reason. No, I think, I like sometimes tend to go toward the underdog. I think nobody expects them to win, so what's the pressure? There's no pressure, right? Let's just play ball. We know why we're here kind of attitude. And good for them. First time to the College World Series. They beat the, like as you said, number two seed. I didn't, I think in our first broadcast you had mentioned, you talked about a percentage for host teams and that sort of thing. I didn't really pay attention to that for today's, but I don't know if that stuck to those percentages, but interesting to see. I just thought, Delaney Everett, it's just exciting. I think I get into that excitement after the win and it's like we had no pressure. We just took care of business. So That's those are my comments. I'm happy to see it. And we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens because they're playing my team that I picked. So
I
we'll
know we'll
see.
have to talk about that in a second here.
Yeah.
But Dad, you and I both had Oregon getting out of there. Did not even really give Mississippi State much of a chance. Actually, you said coin flip. I didn't give them too much of a chance to make it out of their region. So to see them getting out of the super regional, what does this mean for not just Mississippi State, but Oklahoma moving forward now?
Yeah, the Oklahoma, I mean, you can't say that they're not going to be around next year again. I mean, they're always going to be loaded in that they have that pedigree and that sort of reputation where everyone's going to want to go. So recruiting is always going to be good out there. As long as there's no big changes in the coaching staff or anything like that, they'll still be around. And they got shut out. When the last game
6-0
there, they got
loss.
shut out
Yeah.
first time in, I don't know, in like 300 games or something. It was
And
some kind of incredible stat
first
like that.
time in like 399 games. Now I can't remember if they said that is tournament play or all time, like just out of any games, but regardless, 400 games without getting shut out is pretty amazing.
Right. So
Yeah.
no, so I mean, yeah, Oklahoma's out this year. Maybe hopefully they'll give some other teams a chance here. Over the next couple of
Yeah.
years while they sort of regroup a little bit if they have to redo that. But it's like I said, it's all like Tammy said. It's always good to see some new blood in there. So I mean, I wish it wasn't an SEC school, another SEC school. But that's all right.
It's one less big blue blood in the
Yeah.
finals though, so I like that a lot. Talking about Mississippi State real quick, yeah. First off, congrats to them. I didn't expect them to get that far at all. Head coach for them used to play for Oklahoma and used to be a grad assistant for Oklahoma. It's the first time that assistant coach has beaten Oklahoma. I can't think of is it Patty Rhodes? I can't think of her name right now. Somebody has beaten her in a regional as an assistant to her. So that's pretty amazing too to see that kind of give that Nick Saban treatment when it comes to the pool of coaching staff. A lot of
The
people go
coaching
through
tree,
her.
huh? There'll be a
Yeah.
coaching tree.
The
Yeah.
other
So
thing, Miles, to think about is, you think about Oklahoma and them leading with certain stats overall. So those are out now. It's like when you
yeah,
look to the future, it's like, okay, they had the team leading stats for batting average, I think, and
home
maybe
runs was like up
scoring.
there too. Yeah.
Yeah, so now, I don't know, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it breaks it wide open for a lot
Yeah.
of teams now,
Yeah.
especially because you're looking at which we'll talk about next, their matchup with Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Texas Tech is now looking at that matchup and saying we just beat Florida, which is another big pedigree team when it comes to College World Series. We beat them on their home field. Now we're moving on, and yeah, Mississippi State did beat Oklahoma, but you got to think they're a little bit more excited to play them than an Oklahoma team in the game one.
Yeah, you bet.
So, what do you think, though? I mean, that game ended in a lot of controversy, in my opinion. The teams did not shake hands. I think that was on Florida's end. But
Oh,
then Texas Tech also said some things and gestures towards the crowd, which didn't look good on Texas Tech end. So, not really good looks on either side when it comes to the coaching staffs. But
yeah.
regardless, Texas Tech moves on. Your worries about Niger, is there any there for
Yeah,
you?
I don't buy into any of that stuff. You got, oops, I'm sorry. We're breaking up a bit. Um, I don't know what you asked me because I lost you there, but yeah, I don't buy into any of that, not professional kind of leadership style, takeaway. You take the win, you take the loss, and you show respect. I mean, you both made it, right? So, if I missed your question, I apologize, Miles, but I didn't.
No, you're
You were
good.
cutting.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. But Nigeria did not look like the normal Nigeria we've seen the last couple years. Does that worry you at all going into this World Series now?
No, she has a statement to make. I'm going to stick to my. You guys laughed at me. If you look back to our I said Texas Tech. You're like, okay.
Anybody like want to go out on a limb and say this is going to be your early winner of the college softball championship?
Texas Tech.
Oh God. Okay. All right.
Hey, let's write that down. Okay. They had some tough wins and they had some a lot of back and forth. And you mentioned maybe the Nigeria, the Caitlin combo, right?
Yeah.
So they're the lowest seeded team. The other thing to look at is they scored in every inning. One of them I was looking at, and then of course through 5 innings because then it was the run rule, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and I think they also served the Gators their first run rule, right? In the NCAA, I believe.
Of the year, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Yes, I'm sticking with them. Right now I am.
All right, Dad. You and I both watch Tech a lot right now. We both witnessed the Ole Miss comeback, which outrageous comeback to get to pretty much where they're at. Because who knows what happens if they lose that first game against Ole Miss? Maybe they don't even get out of the region at that point. Um, in my opinion, Texas Tech definitely needs to worry a little bit about the pitching, but it seems like the offense just keeps on clicking. Do you think that offense is going to keep on riding the wave now?
I mean, you would hope so, right? You want to believe that it will. It doesn't always equate like that. From one round to the next. It's a whole nother week. Whole nother week, another location. Different travel time, different opponent now. So
Yeah.
you'd like to think it would, but it's not a guarantee.
Yeah.
I hope it does.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, it's when there's a lot of scoring, it's fun to watch. So I'd
Yeah.
rather see that than a 1-0 game.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. We'll move on to a couple other teams. We'll go quickly through Alabama and Arkansas, two teams I really did not watch too much of because, in my opinion, I think they dominated their two games. So I really don't think there's really much to talk about besides kind of a disappointing effort from Duke and LSU, in my opinion. But do you guys have more to talk about that?
No, not really. Yeah. I mean,
No,
the two that I picked, I think no, actually I picked LSU. Or no, no, no. I picked Virginia Tech. Apologies. And then I did
We
pick
actually all did. So yeah, we
yeah.
didn't have much hope for LSU there. Which actually, by the way, I look back at our
Yeah.
brackets.
No, I don't have too much more on that. So
And Tammy, you were 14 of 16 on your regional picks, which was the best of the three of us. Dad, you were 12 of 16. I was 11 of 16. For our
podcast dad, do you need him to repeat that?
we'll just get down to the national champ. That's
Second.
all that matters.
the supers pick, Aunt Tammy and I were both 5 of 8. Podcast Dad was 4 of 8. So a little bit more of a struggle when it came to our super picks, but 14 of 16. Nice job, Aunt Tammy, on picking your regions.
Thank you.
So yeah, Dad, do you have anything to discuss though about Arkansas, Alabama?
Um, you know what, the Arkansas game, I do. They really struggled on the pitching, and Arkansas, really took it to them on the hitting side of it. So um, you gotta look out for them. I think they're coming alive at the right time here. Alabama just dominated, and I think LSU probably lost because of those teal uniforms. Those are horrible.
Oh yeah, those are bad. Those are bad. Great cause. Don't need to see them on the field though. Those are bad. Bad. We'll move
But
on.
Alabama's just good, yeah.
Yeah, UCLA makes it past UCF in 2 games. Honestly, it was an offensive powerhouse. It seemed like it came a little bit later than expected, but UCLA gets the job done. I think they run ruled both of those games. I could be incorrect though. But big score lines for the Bruins. Anything from you guys to talk about there?
So, Raw, UCF is who you picked, right? Our podcast dad? Yes?
I picked him out of the region, I thought,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
out of the region,
but
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 not
not for the super.
the supers.
Hmm. Got it.
You and I both actually had Florida State and Tammy, so that was a tough loss there for our regional picks. But yeah, he actually did get that matchup correct.
Hmm.
Yeah, so there was not much really more to talk about with the UCLA region.
No, they're
Nebraska,
they're 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 hitting good, but they're still only riding that one pitcher, Tinsley. You
Tinsley,
know,
yeah,
so they're just with once it gets past her, they don't have much depth in the pitching spot. So it'll be tough for them at the World Series, I think.
And
yeah,
that, yeah, that depth is going to really start to play here, as we move forward. That's so, yeah.
and when you look at most of these teams have at least 2 pitchers. I think UCLA is the only team right here that has one. So it's going to be question marks that they get past the first matchup and so forth further.
Yeah.
Nebraska, Oklahoma State ended up going Nebraska's way. Not a lot of offense, in my opinion, from Nebraska, which is something to worry about, but they still make it past Oklahoma State. They still did not have to play a third game, which is big. Got the rest there. Didn't have to go with an extra couple innings for Jordy Fromm. So that's huge there. But anything from you guys?
Nebraska, now that their offense is looking really good. As you mentioned, they have deep pitching as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that freshman who came in that second game there, she got a lot of confidence, that lefty.
Yeah. Yeah, that the freshman pitcher has a lot of confidence, a little too much for a freshman in my opinion, but I guess that's I rode their wave there for confidence there. And then the last two will go to the opposite side, which actually is going to be a matchup, Tennessee and Texas. Dad, you had Tennessee winning it as your national championship. They make it past Georgia, in my opinion, pretty easily.
Mm.
Did you got any worries about them moving forward?
No, not really. I mean, they're just sort of continuing how they've been all year. Just plugging along, getting getting the good wins when they need to. So I'm not too worried about them right now.
Nice. And then we'll move on to the last one, the uh, Texas, Arizona State, Austin region. Texas moves on. Texas has not won a game one in the last seven super regionals, and yet they still make it past four of those seven. Now five of the last eight times they've made it past. So again, Arizona State fans, it sucks. In my opinion, I think coaching staff really ruined it in game two when it came to the pitching. I thought Loopy should have been in longer. I think she only went three, maybe 4 innings. They brought in Kinsey Brown, supposed to be the ace. She struggled a little bit, ended up costing them the win there. She came out, pitched in game three. No offense showed up. Really not blaming Kenzie on that one. So I think the game two loss is big. I think that was really what sealed the deal for Texas. But Dad, you watched it with me. Do you think the same way?
Yeah, no, we talked about this while we were watching it, and it seemed like it was just a little. Yeah, some of the changes that they made were just timed wrong. Like you said, they should have kept looping a little bit longer. And then
Yeah.
even in the third game, I think they kept Brown in there too long. They should have went back. They should have switched it up earlier.
Yeah,
Maybe that would have sparked a little bit different on offense. I mean, they still didn't score in the last like what 12 innings that they played. So I mean, that's rough when you don't
yeah,
score in the when you don't score in all those innings. You don't put yourself in position to win, and it's just makes it tough.
yeah.
Yeah. I
It
wanted
was
to.
disappointing though. Yeah,
Yeah.
disappointing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll move on though. Now we get into the actual College World Series bracket, which the matchups game one will be Texas Tech versus Mississippi State, Tennessee versus Texas. Opposite side of the bracket, we'll have Alabama versus UCLA and Arkansas versus Nebraska. So we'll make our game one picks here. We'll start off with Aunt Tammy. You got Texas Tech winning it all. Texas Tech, Mississippi State. I'm guessing you got them game one here.
Yeah, yeah. I do have Texas Tech, and but I have to say, Mississippi State, they are on a high right now, and if it continues through, we want a good game. Their games, they get a lot of runs, and I just hope that momentum continues. And as I said in the first round of our discussion, is I think Nigeri's on a she's on a mission, and this is it. So I think she'll dig deep and give it the gusto. So I'm going with Texas Tech on this, and hoping for a good game.
All right, Dad, what you got?
That's funny. It's just I don't know if it's just because I just want to go the opposite of you, Tammy, or what. But I'm going to go with Mississippi State. And they've had two big upset wins. The regional and the super regional. So they're just got to be on flying on this just giant high right now. So I just think they're going to keep riding that momentum, and I think it'll carry over to at least this first game here. So I have them Mississippi State over Texas Tech in the first game.
Mm.
For
Naishrie's
me,
human, she's not superhuman. She's been hit a lot this last this year and last year. So I think
Yeah.
they have a chance to do it. So
Take Nigeria out of it. The team is the team is hot.
yeah,
But I hear you. We'll see how it goes.
I
yeah,
think out of all these four first games, I think these are the two hottest teams when it comes to offense and not really knowing what to expect here. Mississippi State, you already mentioned it, Tammy, scary team. They've already pretty much beat expectations. They have really no reason to go out there and just shrivel up and not play at all. They got everything's a positive at this point. Why not go out and get another win there against a team like Texas Tech and Nigeria Kennedy? Where Texas Tech, on the other hand, did pretty much something nobody's ever done, where they come back and to beat Ole Miss in the regional, and they've been riding that wave of offense all the way through. They haven't
Yeah.
lost since.
And I will highlight the team leading stats, right?
Yeah,
Second for average, third for ERA, third for scoring, and nine for stolen bases. Not bad. Third on the list.
yeah.
Yeah,
So it's that kind of thing where you got two really good
that's depth.
teams
Yeah.
going up against each other. I think I'm going to take Mississippi State just by a hair, just because you mentioned it. You don't know what to expect from them. They could go out and honestly run the table and make it really far in this bracket, or they could be a 0-2 team, be really happy that they just made it because it's their first time making it to Oklahoma City this late in the year. So I'm going to give them one win. I think Mississippi State gets the job done in game one. But again, I think it's two teams going up against each other that a lot of people could just put a coin flip on it and be happy with the pick. I'd be happy with either team. I'm a big conference guy, so it sucks going against the Big 12.
Mhm.
But I think for the sake of just not knowing what Mississippi State's going to do, I'm going to put some respect on their name. I'll pick them for game one. So we'll move on to uh,
So this is
the
where I
other
get my
matchup.
edge. Okay, right on.
Yes, this
You
is
guys
the
hear me?
other matchup. The winner of this will face the winner of the Texas Tech Mississippi State game, which is Tennessee versus Texas. Dad, who you got for this?
I still have Tennessee. I'm going to keep going with them until they, you know, disappoint me. But I'm going with Tennessee.
All right, Aunt Tammy, what you got?
Yeah, on this one I'm going with Tennessee because I want someone else to move forward. Nothing against Texas. They won it last year, but yeah, I shout out to Tennessee. Um, if Adriana Wilson's listening to this podcast, shout out to Tennessee. I see them pulling it out.
I also agree. Nothing against what Texas had done. They were the better team between them and Arizona State. They got really good pitching. I just think Tennessee just has much better pitching. I think that's going to take them a little bit further. Texas, excuse me, struggled a little bit in game one against Arizona State, struggled in the beginning half of game two because of pitching. So it's that kind of thing where Tennessee has three pitchers they could put on the bump and really shut it down. So I'm going to go with the edge there. I think pitching gets the job done. So I'm also going Tennessee for
Yeah, if
that
I
one.
can just make one other comment too. Unfortunately, what in the last 2 years, Tennessee has started off their opening game in the losers bracket. So I'm hoping that they turn that around. Which would give them obviously a great chance for improvement to reaching the championship. So just a little side note there.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
They've never won a championship either. I think this could be the year they do it because of the fact that they have so much depth in pitching. So that's something to note too. So we'll have to check what happens there, though. We'll move on to the other side of the bracket of the game ones, Alabama, UCLA. And Tammy, we'll start off with you. What you got here?
Oh, Alabama and UCLA. Um, hmm. I have UCLA. I kind of just I I stick to UCLA because they have some big hitters, and I'm not sure Alabama will be able to scoot by UCLA because of the strong program overall. So I'm gonna pick UCLA on this one.
All right, Dad, what you got?
It's one of those things where I want to say UCLA. They're the kind of local team out here that's still left. They do have, like Tammy said, they have big hitters, right? They smash the ball, they score a lot of runs. And if they do that in the first five and score a bunch of runs, they have a chance. Like I said, once if they figure out Tinsley and get timing on her, then it's going to be tough to move on.
Mhm.
So I mean, do they? I I just want to say Alabama. I think they're more complete, more well-rounded team right now. Um, and I just don't see UCLA jumping on Alabama pitching like they had been on the other ones. So I'm gonna go with Alabama this first game.
Okay. Just to remind you guys, Alabama was my initial pick on our first episode when it came to early national championship pick. So seeing them going up against UCLA sucks because you already mentioned it. UCLA's got a lot of firepower. I'm wearing the Bruins hat. Got to root for UCLA being the local team. I want them to go far, but I just can't see them beating a team like Alabama to start it off. So I got Alabama moving on. I'm I'm going to stick with my national championship pick from earlier. Hopefully, they at least get one win. They slowed down the offense of LSU, which I thought was going to be a little bit of a struggle. I'm a little scared during that super regional. Ended up looking really good on their end. So I think they're going to slow down the offense. It might still be a really close game, but I think Alabama edges them out.
Yeah, I'm worried about this pick for sure. With the pitching, there's no depth. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
The last games of the game ones will be Arkansas versus Nebraska. Dad, we'll start off with you. What you got here?
Um, you know what? I'm gonna go with Nebraska still. As long as they're still in it, they keep winning. I'm gonna keep kind of supporting them. Shout out to Darren.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
All right.
Jordy Ball, right? Last
and I
I mentioned it, huh?
and I want to see her husband get kicked out of the game again.
That was hilarious. Hilarious.
I
I
don't
don't
think
know
I
if you
saw
watched it.
that.
It was her husband, and he's got two brothers. They're all wearing overalls. I don't even think they were wearing shirts. Were they wearing shirts? Just
No, they
overalls?
were wearing the striped overalls with no shirts. They were in the stands. They kept
Big
going
ass
to them,
mustaches,
and
cheering
I
out
guess
the whole thing.
right before the end of the game, I guess they were getting a little rowdy, and the security asked them to leave, so they were all leaving as Nebraska went to take the field for the last
Pumping up
half
the
of the game.
crowd though as they're walking out of the stadium. It was awesome. So you definitely know they're gonna be there. Definitely gonna be there.
Yeah.
So, all right, Terry, what's your pick?
Yeah, first time for Arkansas, right?
Yeah.
So that's another one of those like, oh gosh, so good to see them there. Although my pick is Nebraska, I kind of touched on it earlier with the stellar offense and the deep pitching. Eighth time to this World Series. Last time I think in 2013 maybe. But yeah, they'll have the hype. Arkansas will have the hype as they should and be really excited about it. But I think Nebraska's going to pull it out.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. I'm not really going to say much more because you guys hit it right on the head. I think Nebraska gets the job done in game one. And then it makes me scared for Alabama versus Nebraska because they're a really good team. And I could see both those teams winning moving on. So, all right, so that is game ones. A lot could happen going forward. Loser brackets, this and that. Teams going in and out between each other's brackets. We're not going to do a complete breakdown of the bracket, but we gave out game ones, and now let's give out our national championships, which is regardless if you have a loss going into the national championship, all losses are wiped. It's a best of three, regardless of your record going into that. So, Dad, we'll start off with you. Who's your national championship? How many games does it go? And who is hoisting the trophy for you?
All right, it's probably going to go 3 games in the championship. By the time you get to that, there's going to be the top 2 teams. I think it'll probably go 3. And I have Tennessee over Nebraska.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. And Tammy, what you got?
Yeah, I agree with Podcast Dad. 3 games. Maybe that's what I want to. It's just the excitement of it all. But you have 2, great teams there. You know, I said Texas Tech early on. I think it's going to be Texas Tech and Tennessee. And I think as much as I'd like to say Tennessee could pull it out, I'm going to stick with Texas Tech and just stick with my pick.
Okay. Interesting. That would be fun to watch between those two going up because of you two going at it the whole time on the text threads. That would be a lot of fun to watch
I
that
like
matchup.
Tennessee too, but I just, I think I'm just kind of pulling for Texas Tech and Nigeri, and she's just had a great career. So,
yeah. Yeah, it would be not surprising, but it would also be a lot of fun to see those two going up against each other. For me, Alabama's my national champion in the beginning. I got them at least making the finals. I also agree it's going to go 3 games because of what you said, Dad. I think the parity is there this year. I think we're going to see a 3-game set. If we don't see 3 games, I think it's going to be 2 close matchup wins for whoever wins the national championship. I don't think it's going to be blowouts. I don't think we're going to see run rules like we have been somewhat recently, especially with Oklahoma's dominance in the playoffs. I got Alabama versus Nebraska, which actually would be a matchup I have earlier in the bracket. So it'd be the second time they meet up against each other in this. So it would be potentially 4 games of Nebraska versus Alabama, which would be really interesting to watch. you mentioned you want Kennedy to go out on top. She's had a great career. Same with me with Jordy Fromm. I think she's had a great career. I would like to see her go out on top. She returned back to Nebraska. She's from the area. She wanted to win with this team. She won it in Oklahoma, wanted to come back home and bring a winning culture there. She's already done that, regardless if she wins a national championship. So congrats to her for that. I'm sticking with Alabama, though. I think it goes in 3 games. Alabama wins the first matchup. Once it goes to the national championship, I think they win the first one. Nebraska takes the second. Alabama takes the winner, takes all games. So I think sticking with my champ is important in this sake, but I would still be very scared to see Jordy Fromm and that offense against Alabama in a national championship game. I'm kind of surprised that we all stuck with our initial picks on national champions. Last year, I don't think any of us stuck it out. I don't think.
No, but all our teams, seem to be looking good at this point now at the start of the World Series. So,
Oh,
there's no
thanks,
reason to change.
Podcast Dad. Thanks for
Well,
giving
you guys
me
got
some
lucky.
Just remember, you guys, if I could take pictures of your faces when I said Texas Tech. You haven't, come on, give me the props. Sorry, Podcast Dad. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, the parity this year definitely makes it easier to stick with your teams compared to last year, where it did feel like there was a little bit more lopsided for these last 8 teams.
Yeah.
But I mean, even just talking about game ones, I mean, we were not even that confident on picking out game ones, where the Texas Tech Mississippi State game could go either way. Alabama, UCLA. I mean, and Tammy, you got UCLA, and I would not say it's a bad pick, but how far can UCLA go? It's that kind of thing too. So yeah, a lot on the line for a lot of teams, a lot of experience for some programs and some new ones where Mississippi State and Arkansas are doing this for the first time. So a lot of history to be written when it comes to this weekend. The last game could be June 4th or 5th. So we got a little bit of time, but it's going to come by really quick. Games start on Thursday, so make sure you guys check that out. It'll be softball between Thursday till the end of the season. So a lot of softball to watch still here. So thanks again, guys, for joining me on this episode.
No, thanks for having us. It's always fun to talk softball.
It is.
Enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So make sure you guys watch some softball. 219 episodes are in the books. Make sure you guys hit the like, subscribe, the bell icon so you guys know when episodes like this drop. The social links are down below if you guys want to check out our brackets, other content that I'm trying to put out there as well. It's all there in the links down below. So make sure you guys check that out. Well, we appreciate you guys so much. Have an awesome rest of your day, and we'll see you guys later.